Greetings, y'all. Welcome to Karen Hope's 15 Minutes of Solid Inspiration. This here is a YouTube channel where hope grows inspiration. Y'all, thank you for being here today. Usually we have a little music going on in the background, but I got a kiddo home today, and she's right over there listening to her what are you watching, Joylyn?
Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter. I don't know. I'll listen. It's anime. Oh God. Anyway. Hi y'all. So I'm on the channel here today to let you know, like I always do, that episode today, the most recent podcast episode, 190, was produced and published and is available for listening down in the podcast platform. Links down below in the description box. Y'all check it out. Today's title, and it's easy to remember if you like oldies but goodies. Do you remember that song, Do You Know Where You're Going To? Was that Diana Ross, or was that like the Whole Supremes? I don't know, but yes, that was the title of today's episode. And what it was all about was this. We're going to wrap it up in a nutshell, not talk about it too much. Just listen to it in its entirety down below. But what we talked about was this. We have destinations, and we can't sit around wondering what decisions we need to make in our destination. Yes, we need to carefully plan and we need to carefully think, but this is what I'm trying to say. We can stop ourselves at the start. When we sit down trying to figure out, if this, or what if this, or what about this? Well, what if this happens? Well, last time that happened and somebody else did this and that happened to them, and someone may not like it, or I may be scared or something. No. Move forward. That's just it. Today's episode was about just go forward. Make all your decisions as you go, because that's how we learn what we're doing. Okay? I'll use this example, and then I'll use this example, and then we'll go on to the next thought, and we'll wrap it up, the video. But if you have a book in your hand, and this book has 500 pages, and your destination, your goal, what you will do without a shadow of a doubt is finish that book. That is your destination. You're on page 2. How in the world can you expect yourself to know what the protagonist is doing and what the antagonist is doing and how the plot is unfolding? How do you know what the final mood will be and what the tone will be? How do you know until you get to the very last period, the very last punctuation in that book? Because it could be a period, it could be an exclamation point, it could be a question mark. It'll change the whole point of that book. Do you know what I mean? But you have to keep reading the book to get to the last punctuation, to know what it's all about. And then you can go into your head and say, oh, I remember when that part of the story went, oh yeah. Well, I would have made a different decision then, but and you can just go through and look and say what you would have done, but it doesn't matter anymore because you are there. And the next time, your next destination, you can take those things, those lessons that you've learned, those things, those ways that you've learned how to understand your book, your pages, your chapters, and just keep going forward with that. That's what we talked about. Okay, so y'all, listen to that. Again, down in the podcast platform, links down below in the description box. Okay, so let's wrap this video up with a pretty little bow. I'm going to tell y'all something. I had a very serious conversation today. I actually had to go into a different room because I said my daughter is home today. Not because it's loud, but because even if it's situations or conversations are calm and it's, adult conversation is adult conversation, and some things are a little too heavy for babies. My child is 11 and she's a baby. It's a conversation she will have to have in the future, though maybe, or maybe not. This is why I say arguing. Um, I had someone who, I get these questions, like people are trying to break down my belief or trying to pick apart, do I really believe what I'm believing? Does she really believe that? Or how can she believe that? You know? And I understand. I totally understand. So that's why I don't like to argue, because I am willing to listen to someone's point, but I'm not willing to be part of your conflict, if you know what I mean. So I'm not going to argue. I will listen. And I will stand my ground in the meantime. So I had a very serious question. I actually appreciate the question, because now I could talk about it. I really didn't even have to think about anything to say today. Just talk about this. My friend, he was, how can you stick with this religious stuff? And I said, what do you mean? It's religious stuff. What do you mean? How can you say you're religious? The religious people this and religious people that, and how can you be on board with religion? And you're religious. And I don't like to explain myself. I am Karen Hope, and I love God. It sounds like a, what do you call it? Anonymous meeting? No, but that's just what it is. And I had to explain to him, and it's sad, because it's, he was explaining to me, what's the difference between you and a religious person? You're religious. Fine, say what you want. It's so funny too that I have a t-shirt on today that says your opinion matters, but not to me. And I didn't even mean to wear that today. I had it on during the conversation. You see how God is? And I had to explain to him, and I said, look, this is what I think religion will do, and this is why I am not. I'm not going to explain this to you again, but since I have to stand my ground right now, I will. A religious person will, for instance, go to church for 15 years and never miss a day. No matter what, come hell or high water, they're in church. Okay. And then, say for instance, there's a wedding or, something that, you don't have to feel bad about not going 15 years later. Wedding or Super Bowl, something, big gathering. People coming from everywhere, all over the world. So you're not going to go that day. You're sleeping in. There's a person who lives on the next street. You know them very well. They don't go to your building. Your church building. They don't go to your church building. Actually, they don't go to church at all. At all. But the Lord has been calling them to go to church. Now, this is not about an issue of church and going to church or not. I'm just telling you an example of what I think religious people do or tend to do, which I will not be on board for. And that person will call and say, that person who's off that day, not going to church. Actually, that person who wants to go to church, who's never been to church, was invited to that party. And that person calls and says, hey, sister, brother, I want to go to church today. I've had this flyer on my door, and this church is on 14th Street. The other church is on 15th Street. Same church. Let's just say Baptist. I just say Baptist. I'm not trying to pick anything. I'm just saying for the sake of, forming a picture. Baptist church on 14th Street, Baptist church on 15th Street. Same amount congregation, same pastors come out of the same high school, same neighborhood, lived on the same block, went to church together as children. I'm saying they know each other. They have the same ideology is what I'm trying to say. Not too much difference in the two. People who are preaching God's word. That person will call the other person and say, hey, I need a ride to church. Since I can't come to the party, but since you're available today, can you take me over to that church building on 14th Street? And that person that goes to church on 15th Street says, that's not my church building. Oh, no, I'm not dropping off anybody at any church building that my pastor isn't in. So, once I explained to him about why he needs to be very careful about who he's calling religious, I'm glad I was able to stand my ground without an argument. See, that's my point. I didn't have to argue that. And I'm not going to argue, but I will stand my ground. When it comes to, getting back to that, y'all, stand your ground. Doesn't matter. Right now, we're talking because this is an inspirational video. This is what I do every day. It's every day. And by the way, y'all, if you're not obsessed with what you're doing in your life, do something else. Be obsessed with what you do. If it's your life, I saw that meme yesterday on Facebook and it really resonated with me. I love it. So I'm glad I can say it. Just in case you don't look at Facebook and you don't see that meme. I can't remember who sent it, but I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. Just stand your ground. Move forward in your purpose. Like going back to today's podcast episode. Just keep going. Make the decisions while you're going. And like today, people will come at you with questions. They'll try to trip you up. Try to make you not believe in yourself, right? Present you with an image and make you want to put you there, make you bring it to you and say, this is who you are. No, you tell them no, and you stand your ground. You explain, don't argue, and keep it moving, okay? I hope that can help somebody right now. All right. We're going to wrap this up. Y'all, thank you so much for being here today. If you are currently supporting the podcast, monthly thank you. If you're considering, thank you in advance. And you can do that down there in the podcast link down below that says Anchor. Yeah, they'll be on the Spotify link. It'll take you to the Spotify platform. And there will be a support button. Just click there. Follow the prompts. Thank you. And if you're right here listening to this video, if you're still here is what I'm trying to say. If you didn't click off 5 minutes ago, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. It's a blessing. And I will see you right back here tomorrow on this channel, y'all, to exchange some awesome energy. And just before we sign off, y'all, go out here today. Don't spend your time arguing about anything, but do stand your ground. And what that means is have the willingness to listen to someone else, but never be willing to take on their conflict. It's not your business. Talk to you later.